Hi there, welcome to Vet Snoot. This is Casey Ellenwood. Today's lesson is called The Last Impression. I do have the word last crossed out, and you're probably wondering why. I'll get to that in just a second. But first, the reason why I am doing this lesson is because many of us raise prices at the beginning of the year. Some of us raise prices throughout the year, and there's various reasons for it. But there's only so much that we can control as a veterinary professional. Now, you can't control what your prices are. That's up to your management, that's up to ownership, and they tell you this is what's happening, we're raising our prices, and you're kind of left to deal with the clients with that. But it's not always a bad thing, because when you raise prices, usually it's because you are upgrading services, you're providing better quality of care, and maybe you're doing a lot of employee development, whether you're in the Vet Snoot program and they're investing in you as an employee, or you're doing continuing education. There's so many reasons for us to have to raise prices. And it's not about the money, it's about the value that your clients are getting and figuring out what we can do to explain that to our clients. So that's what we're going to go through today. So why in the world do I have the word last crossed out? Well, as a Vet Snoot student, you've learned a lot about the client greeting and the importance of that first impression and how it sets the tone for what lies ahead, because this is what sets expectations for what your clients are going to experience throughout their visit, whether it's on the phone or at check-in or both. Now, the last impression is really important because that's what we're left with. It's probably what they're going to remember most about this experience. Now, I have the word last crossed out because we really want to leave a lasting impression, because we're constantly in touch with our clients. It doesn't just end at checkout. They don't just pay and then leave. There's always things that we should be doing to follow up and follow through with our clients. We don't want them to only hear from us just that one time a year. And the lasting impression is what proves that we're dedicated to them with not just customer service, but quality of care. So when your clients are figuring out what practice they want to go to, what do you think sets your clinic apart from the clinic up the street? Do you do a 30-minute exam versus a 20-minute exam? I mean, I don't know. Everybody's clinics are totally different, but there's something special and unique about your practice. And you guys need to know what those things are, and you need to brag about those to your clients. And it's really important, too, to understand some of the things that clients are comparing. So I have a list of a few things here. And I mean, I can't tell you exactly what is most important to each client because they're all different. But this is just a few things, whether it's about pricing, or maybe they're really focused on building a relationship with the team and feeling they have a partnership with the veterinarian. What does the experience feel like when they leave? Do they feel valued? Do they feel like their pet was valued? Were they welcomed by your staff members? Was everybody friendly? Did they have a good experience? There's so many different things that they can be measuring. So with that said, what can we possibly control? Well, the answer is customer service. Our experience of a reception team, whether it's at a vet clinic or anywhere, can vary from surly and unresponsive to friendly and welcoming. Irrespective of how good the veterinary care is, it's the experience that's going to influence what our clients feel. So it's really important that we're empathetic and we're friendly. And if you see the word upserving and you're not familiar with it, that's a lesson in the Vet Snoot Training Academy where we talk a lot about how to educate our clients, but not just that, we're empowering them to make important healthcare decisions for their pets. So basically, this is to help increase compliance without feeling like we're selling anything to them, because that's not what we're doing. So this list here, these are the things that we can control. So that's what we're going to focus on. Now, remember why we're here. As veterinary professionals, we want to impact as many pets as possible by providing high quality care. We want to make meaningful and emotional connections with our clients and educate them, like I said, to empower them to make important healthcare decisions for their pets so that they are making the decision themselves. We are making recommendations and educating them so that they can make the final decision and feel good about what that decision was. And that's going to leave a very good lasting impression. Now, one way that we can continually work on compliance and making important recommendations for pet healthcare is by planting seeds. When clients leave a clinic, what is important for them to remember? What gives you value? These are the seeds that you're always planting. We shouldn't expect every client to say yes to preventative care. But if we take the time to educate them in a non judgmental way about why we think it's important, then that message is like a little seed. So it's really important that we talk about things consistently because education takes time and patience. And if we treat our clients with compassion and we are respectful when they say, no, not today, then they trust us more over time. So we've got to plant seeds about all our preventative care, and we have to be consistent throughout the phone call, whether it's on our website, in our reminders, check in, check out, and in the exam room. We have to constantly be planting seeds. And the more consistently they are hearing these things about preventive care, the more likely they will understand and be willing to comply. Because we're talking about the lasting impression, the checkout process is one of the most important parts. So before they leave, we really should be scheduling that next visit. Forward booking is really important, and I'm going to get into that in a second. But presenting the invoice is one of the biggest things that we're going to do in order to demonstrate the value of our services, because this is that point where clients see the dollar signs, and we typically just say, it's $450. And they're like, whoa, what? That's the last thing that we're going to do. And I'm going to go through this with you step by step so that you feel confident about the checkout process and you're not on pins and needles waiting for that reaction. You always want to ask for questions if they had a good visit, if there's anything else you can do for them. Then you can collect the payment. But then it never ends at that because we're leaving a lasting impression. So we're going to let them know what our next steps are going to be. So retaining clients is extremely important for a healthy practice. And the best way to do that is to forward book your appointments. We don't want to expect our clients to take that initiative to call us when it's time, to see that reminder and say, oh yeah, I need to do that. The reminder should remind them that they have a visit coming up, not that they have to do something. So we need to forward book these appointments. I don't care if it's a year out or 6 months out or 2 weeks, whatever it is. The important thing is that it's not a yes or no question. I always hear people saying, would you like to schedule an appointment? No, it's not a yes or no question. So here's what we're going to do. Option number one, we're going to give a day and a few options of times. And then we can ask, what works best for you? Option number two, we're going to schedule it for the same day of the week at the same time as the current appointment. Now, before you get upset with me, let's hold on a second because I'm going to address your concerns. We have no idea who's going to be working a year from now, but that doesn't make it an excuse to not do forward booking. If you do need to reschedule and you've done this ahead of time, there's plenty of time to fill that spot. Not doing a month ahead reminder increases the chances of no call, no shows, and open spots that should be filled. We've got to not back down from the fact that we don't know who's on the schedule. If you want to have a client book with a specific doctor, put it in the notes and then handle it when you do send that appointment reminder. Send that reminder again a month ahead. If you need to reschedule, you have plenty of time to fill that spot. But if you're not doing that, you're going to have a lot more of those no call, no shows. So let's talk about presenting value. Services first, price last. This is something that as a vet student and graduate, I talk about quite often and that you should have down by now. When you lead with pricing, it just centers the conversation around money. And that's what we're trying to avoid here. So simply stating the total is going to give them sticker shock and possibly buyer's remorse. So remember, we have got to convey the value of our services. Now, I've got a quick ditty here on my upserving lesson on how to demonstrate the value. And I have a few specific examples. And I don't have time to do that entire lesson or to go through the upserving formula. But if you are concerned about how you can continually just talk to clients about different services and prevention and anything from surgery to the exam, then you might want to take note of some of these scripts here. And this is going to help you demonstrate the value and help the client understand why we're making these recommendations and why it's so important. If you're interested in the upserving lesson and you haven't already taken it, let me know. If you have taken it, it might not hurt for you to go back and do it again. So the main reason why we're here is to talk about how we're going to present the invoice. It's really important when you're checking out a client that you don't say your total today is. What we're going to do is kind of revisit what they just experienced to remind them of all of these things that we just accomplished in their visit, because it's a lot and it's a big deal. And we need to celebrate the fact, especially if this is for a wellness visit, that our client took the time to take care of their pet, update their vaccines, make sure they're heartworm negative, and purchase the heartworm prevention and the flea prevention and the tick prevention and all the things they need to do so that they're all set for the entire year. That's amazing. This is a big investment, and it's like a huge thing that they're doing for their pet, and we need to help them celebrate that and feel good about it. So to do that, we're going to present the invoice. Now I have my fake little invoice here today, and it's literally just a blank piece of paper, but I'm going to pretend it has my line items. And this is how I'm going to do this. Max had a big day today. Today's visit included a preventive care exam, and he got caught up on his vaccines. And we also did an intestinal parasite screen and a heartworm test, which was negative. So he also has enough flea, tick, and heartworm prevention that's going to last the entire year. Now, do you have any questions about your visit today? Great. Your total is $450. Now, which payment method will you be using? That comes to your client so much better than just, it's $450. Now, I get it that it seems like a lot of talking. I don't care. That's what we're here for. It's customer service. Now, even if they had a sick pet, like let's say they had a patient come in that was just diagnosed with Cushing's disease, and they're going home with all these medications and they're super overwhelmed. It's going to be a decent bill. Like, we've done a lot of diagnostics. Again, you need to read through. So we've done all of these tests today, read through what we've done, and we're sending you home with these medications to help him feel better. There's so many things that you need to be doing at client checkout to present the invoice. This is just an example script for a wellness visit. And I also want you to remember it doesn't stop here, because we're doing a lasting impression. So what is our next scheduled contact with the client? It's not sending the reminder. We're going to follow up. We're going to call within 2 to 3 days of their appointment, and we're going to let them know that. So we're going to make a note. Remember to call Mrs. Jones to check in on Max in a couple of days. And we're going to let her know. Well, and you know what? Don't let her know if you don't want, because it's kind of a nice surprise, because a lot of clinics aren't doing that. But just to call on a wellness visit and just say, hey, Max was just in a couple of days ago, and I just wanted to check and make sure everything went okay. And do you have any questions about your visit? Is there anything else we can do for you? And we've really liked seeing Max, and we look forward to seeing you next year. Now, the other thing you're going to do is send Mrs. Jones an email. Like, let's say this particular client had some questions about fleas and getting them out of the home. I've provided you guys so many links to websites that are client safe, so that they don't go into that dark, deep web rabbit hole of crap where they're going to be Dr. Googling stuff. So you need to start sending them these links and follow up with them after their appointment. The other thing is, you need to make sure that you have the entire patient file up to date and you have all those reminders in, so that when they do get their reminders, they get it when they're supposed to. Now, if it's not a vaccine or a wellness appointment, you need to create a task for a technician or a doctor to call and check on that patient. Otherwise, the client service representative should be able to schedule the follow-up. The other thing you need to do is think, does this patient need to come back for med refills? Did you set a reminder for this? There's always ways to follow up and follow through. Now, again, I have a lot of specific lessons about this in the Vet Snoop program. So if you're not enrolled in the program, let me know if you're interested. Thank you for listening, and go to courses.vetsnoot.com for more information. And as always, if you have any problems or questions, reach out to me. This is my email and my phone number, and I will be in touch. Thank you. Bye.